MapMasq is a tool that uses algorithms to spatially distort data to protect privacy while creating representational data sets through aggregation and statistical methods. While there are many use cases for MapMasq, this video focuses on the health researcher at the university level. Let's say you are a researcher at a university and you have a great idea that will look at patient health records on a map to explore patterns and potentially solve problems at the local, state, or even national level. This project, you believe, has the potential to improve the health of the overall community. During your initial investigation, you find a provider that has a wealth of patient data that would allow you to not only do your research, but further contribute to the community. You approach them telling them about your research, but they cut you off and start talking about the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, also known as HIPAA, and how they cannot give you the data or they're going to make you meet certain requirements to acquire the data. Undeterred, you decide to do your homework and find out how you can comply with the requirements either through a business associates agreement or getting your institutional review board to sign off on an exception. When you approach your IRB, you find out they have even more requirements than the healthcare provider. Some of the requirements may include limits on who can assist you in the research, special training for those who access the data, separate secure networks with encryption, limits on what information can be published, and some of these limits may even prevent your research from being able to reach the community. This is where MapMasq can help. With the goal of protecting the individual privacy of patients while making the data useful, MapMasq will use a statistical process called k-mean neighbor to create a second data set that is representational of the protected data, but the points are not located on their original locations. For further references and published research on this process, visit mapmasq.com in our additional resources section or our frequently asked questions. Let's take a look at how MapMasq does this. MapMasq is an add-on to the ESRI software package ArcGIS Professional. Your university or educational institution probably already has licenses and a lab with this software. Working on a standalone machine or with a secure HIPAA-approved database, you can add the data to the map. This is your protected data that you've been able to acquire but is limited in who can see, use, or study this information. In this example, we will say these are home addresses for a specific type of prescription user, but it could be a disease, condition, or other information that is protected. You want to be able to use this information in an unsecure manner or even potentially share it with the public or another department. Utilizing the expert judgment rule found within the HIPAA regulations, you want to create a representative data set that creates very little risk of patient re-identification. Using MapMasq, you select the k-mean neighbor algorithm. You decide to use a k-value of 5, which tells the tool you want to base the distance and direction a point will be randomly moved based on how far the 5 surrounding points are from itself. There is a statistical reason for this number based on the properties of a gamma distribution, but you can read more about that on our website where we link to other research that has used this number. But you have the ability to use any number greater than 2 depending on your expert's opinion. MapMasq allows you to make the results even more conservative. Using scaling, we will force the final distribution of points to move farther to create more movement in the final data set by setting these averages higher. This is also based on the properties of a gamma distribution. Note that the value of 10 or higher usually creates a less than 1% chance of a final k-score for an individual point being 0. The k-score is a measure of the potential for re-identification if the user of the dataset already has other information on the dataset. While final judgment is up to the expert making the determination, the regulation does not require 0 risk of re-identification. Some risk is acceptable under the regulation, and you will need to consult your appropriate approving authority for that information. But keep in mind The more conservative the approach, the less the resulting data set is representational of the original data set. After we run the masking, you can see that the points moved and no point is on an original location. The final exported data set will be representational of the initial data set with some statistical variance. But most community research will find that this is acceptable ranges. However, this will vary with the data set and the type of research. We also remove all attributes from the data and provide a foreign key back to the original data set. Depending on your needs, the data can be joined back to the data set or left out to ensure a greater level of privacy protection. HIPAA has specific rules on this type of information also. The resulting data set with appropriate approval is no longer considered protected health information and can be shared with other researchers, put on less secure networks, and maybe even shared with the general public. Additionally, the data can be uploaded to cloud analytical services or public portals such as ArcGIS Online, which does not allow protected health information, but this type of masked information is allowed with your local approval of the data owner. MapMasq also has other methods that aggregate data and use census data to determine the underlying populations. We will explore these in a future video. We hope this video has been helpful, and you can contact us at mapmask@gisinc.com or fill out our contact page on mapmask.com. Thank you for watching, and please reach out to us if you have any questions.